It's a Friday, and we're talking football non-stop. All football, all the time. This is another edition of Football Friday with Jake Scott and Ben Anderson on 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
Happy Friday to one and all. Jake and Ben, 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone. Shout out to my guy, David James, if he's still listening. Let's get that hearing checked. Just about blew my own head off right there.
Oh, ow. Loud in the headphones. Okay.
Woo. Hey. Yeah. Hey, I'm awake.
Yeah.
Good morning, everyone. How's PK's hearing? You ever have to...
well, I change my headphones out from the ones he's wearing.
So do I.
Too.
Yeah.
No, mine's usually quite a bit lower.
You have to turn it down.
I have to turn it down. No, not like yours. Maybe I adjust it slightly, but...
Well, maybe DJ was just having a bad hearing day. Usually I don't have to turn it down that much.
Or maybe when he pulls the cord out, he hit the button.
Hello. Good morning. How are you over there, Ben?
I'm doing great. How are you?
Living the dream. We have basketball to talk about. We have football to talk about. I don't know if we have to bring up hockey.
Well, they haven't been good. They got slaughtered again last night, and it's... I don't know. I'll be really curious about this, not to get too lost in hockey, but, this is certainly not panic stage. I mean, they're still above 500, and there are lulls in the season, but last year was such a honeymoon, and the honeymoon is over, and now this is a team that came into the season with expectations, and they're still very young, so if you just wanted to let Bill Armstrong and Chris Armstrong kind of say, hey, it's going to take a while, maybe we'll put the cart in front of the horse a little bit, or there's still a lot of season left, there's 60-plus games left, and maybe they still have a chance to turn this around and get to the playoffs. But, yeah, what type of approach does Ryan Smith take? Because we have not seen, for the most part, when he bought the Jazz in 2020, that was a ready-built product. That was a machine that was running. The players were there. He just had to decide if he was going to extend the contracts or not. And they just kind of extended all those guys. They gave it 2 more years, and then when things fell apart, they traded Rudy and Donovan and everybody, Boyan, etc. This Mammoth club is in a totally different spot. They're ascending, and that Jazz team was apparently winding down. At least that's how they treated it. And what type of an owner is he when he has a team that is supposed to be ascending that does not play well, that does not meet that expectation? Does he make personnel changes? Does he ride it out? Does he take a long-term approach? Does he take shortcuts? I don't know. And I don't know if there's a right way to do it. I think there's successes and failures in both approaches. So I think that might be the curious part to watch.
But we're not there yet.
I don't think so.
Okay.
But we'll see. If you get shelled at home by the Rangers tomorrow, 4-1, or whatever it was last night to the Golden Knights, maybe they do make changes.
After that game.
Certainly feels like it's falling on deaf ears. Whatever's going on, whatever is being talked about. I think Ian Cole, after the game yesterday, said, hey, we got to care about winning. Do you guys not care about winning? If so, that's someone's not listening. Someone's not paying attention. And that's probably usually comes down to leadership. And the question is, who's the leader? Is it on the team, or is it between the pipes, or is it on the bench?
Yeah, I'm curious. This it feels streaky. Like we were having a conversation about a team that won how many in a row?
7 in a row.
Right. That was like 10 days ago.
Yeah, it was. And
the
hockey is so
I don't
close.
know. I guess that was... I was kind of joking about talking about a team that's lost 4 in a row. Honestly, we can talk about a team that's on a cold streak, but I more side with the first part of your, who knows? We'll see if there's a leader. That was part of my motivation for saying we don't need to talk about it, because I get the point that there's not that panicky behavior in hockey is a little futile. That the game lends itself to a little bit of, you're going to have to ride some ups and downs because it's a much more of a, this sounds bad, but I don't really mean it to be bad, but it's way more of a fluky sport than say basketball.
Way
and
fickle.
So all of a sudden, it's not playing red and black on the roulette wheel, but it kind of is. Like all of a sudden, it's come up black 4 times in a row. I'm trying to get to know NHL hockey a little bit better, and I think the whole, throw the plan out the window because they've lost 4 in a row.
Mm-hmm.
I don't.
And it's important to remember also the nuance of that is they have not lost 4 in a row. They have just not won 4 in a row. There are 3 ties and 1 loss. Like, they still get 3 points out of this, which are beneficial. That helps towards your playoff race.
So I don't know how relevant losing or whatever 4 in a row really is. Does that make any sense? That's why I don't think it's I don't think we're to the second part of your take about Ryan Smith and what kind of owner is he. I don't think we're really anywhere close to that, honestly.
The reason I say it is because I heard a lot in the offseason that there was a desire to replace Bear if there wasn't serious winning this year.
Okay. Well,
there was a desire to bring in somebody else.
So where's the line, 5, 8, 10? I don't know either. And what's the point of I've always said this. What's the point of firing your coach in the middle of the year? Now in college football, it's a strategy because you don't want to be late to the game.
Mm-hmm.
Are we there in hockey? I kind of don't think we're really there in professional sports. Unless you've got a true disaster on your hands, I don't really see the point in it. But, to your point, maybe he feels differently. I certainly don't think he should make that decision after this present stretch.
Ryan, historically, has been very patient.
Yeah.
He's been patient. He's been willing to see things big picture. He's not made a lot of short-term moves. Now, when the moves seem advantageous, J.J. Paterka or John Collins or some of these moves that he's made as an owner that he's approved or tanking, like those are pretty aggressive. But those are also, some of those are big picture. Some of those were, how is this going to look and how can we use this asset a year or 2 from now? So that's why I bring it up. In all honesty, I don't have a feel yet for the minutia of hockey and how much changing. It was obvious the New Orleans Pelicans had to make a change. Now, was firing Willie Green, which, by the way, I got right in our preseason predictions, the first NBA coach fired, was that actually the problem? No, Joe Dumars was the problem. But they had to change something, and that was the obvious thing to change. Firing a head coach in the NBA is not that difficult.
I don't know if Joe Dumars was the problem. He's not been there long enough to be there. Their problems preceded Joe Dumars.
But then he traded their unprotected first-round pick this year for a team that has no chance of winning.
But that move isn't why they're losing.
No, that's true. This move is not the reason they're losing. They also haven't won for several years before he got there either. But I knew at that point in the NBA, and I said this was going to happen, and it happened just because I'm familiar enough with cultures in the NBA, pressure, hot seats, how things can change, who the assistant coaches are. Like, I knew James Borrego was the backup coach, the assistant coach in New Orleans. Well, that's a death sentence for Willie Green because James Borrego's interviews for every head coaching job every time they come open because he's very well respected, even though he's not had a lot of success in his career. But when you hire him as an assistant, you hire him to fire your head coach. I don't know what that looks like in hockey. I don't know who the next guy you hire is. I don't know if that guy's already on the staff. I don't know what you should expect to see differently if you do fire a head coach. And I'm not saying Bear's going to get fired. I'm relaying what I had heard in the offseason. And this is a hockey team that's not playing well.
And there is our hockey talk.
There's our hockey talk.
There you go.
Not honky tonk.
It started with, we don't have to talk about hockey, and it expanded into
It's interesting.
Hockey. We'll see what they do. Ben, BYU at Cincinnati. Late kick. Well, not late, late-ish. 6 o'clock, right? On Fox, Big Fox. And Utah hosting Kansas State. Very comfortable and nice 2 o'clock kick.
Yeah, beautiful.
I haven't looked at the weather. What's it looking like tomorrow?
50s.
Oh, 50 and sunny?
Yeah, should be nice.
Man, this fall has been good.
Yeah, we've been lucky.
If you're not taking advantage of it, call Peach Doors and Windows. 801-566-1255. Experience the great fall in this beautiful place of ours. Which team is more likely to lose? I think this one's pretty easy.
I think you and I have a different opinion.
Okay.
I think it's Utah. I think Utah is more likely to lose than BYU is.
Explain.
I think BYU is better. I don't think Cincinnati's a lot better than Kansas State, if they are better. And I do actually think the one thing that Cincinnati or that Kansas State can do, and by the way, just so we're clear, I'm picking both Utah and BYU to win by
I said who is more
2
likely
touchdowns.
to lose. That was the premise.
Yeah, I just want people to know I'm not picking against Utah. Utah's going to beat Kansas State. I firmly believe that. What Avery Johnson is capable of, and I went back and I watched the Kansas game this morning, Kansas State, Kansas. Their ability to force turnovers, which can be a problem for Utah if Devin Dampier is playing from behind or they feel like they need to move the ball, which is worst case scenario. Let's say Kansas State gets the ball in the opening kick and scores. Utah fumbles the kick return, which, by the way, is exactly what happened against Kansas. In fact, it was the other way around. But Utah gets the kick return, fumbles. Kansas State gets the ball in the red zone, and they score, and they're up 14-0. Kansas State actually has the style of play that could make life difficult for Utah because they can still score on some home run passes, but they can run the ball a little bit with Avery Johnson and manage a clock, and if Utah has to play from behind, it could be difficult. I don't think Cincinnati can stop BYU, and I think BYU is going to have very little trouble stopping Cincinnati. So the danger level of Kansas State as a football team, I think, is higher than Cincinnati. I recognize you're playing on the road at Cincinnati, and inherently that makes games difficult.
To your point, Kansas State is second in the league in turnover margin.
Yeah. So that...
+1 per game.
If you were to lay out which one of these teams were to lose this weekend, Utah or BYU, and how it happens, it's that Kansas State has a lopsided turnover margin. They score early, and then Avery Johnson just keeps Utah on ice, keeps them off the field.
Let's see here. Rush defense, which I think is relevant, 10th in the league, so not great. 152.
Yeah.
Total defense, however, let's see, where did that go? Total defense, 10th. Giving up 376 yards a game.
Yeah.
So a little perspective on who Kansas State is. But that turnover margin number obviously is really, really good. I see your point. I don't think you're wrong. I think if Kansas State got up early, that totally changes the calculus. Mm-hmm. You know, if all of a sudden they're up 2 scores early in the first half, I think that changes things a little bit. You make a good point about Utah's ability to come back. I probably would say Cincinnati because I think their offense is more dynamic. But if the quarterback's hurt, obviously it changes things.
Yeah, Sorsby's not playing, but he's listed as probable, right?
Right, but I mean, if you saw him play against Arizona,
yeah.
It's a bit of that situation where like he was playing, but
at what level?
At what
Yeah.
At what level was he playing? So I think. Them getting a receiver and a running back probably makes a big difference.
Helps.
I do think Sorsby, when he is healthy, is more than capable. They're 4th in the league in total offense. I mean, they have, like, if Kansas State gets to 30, I think things are really in doubt for BYU. And I'm really curious.
Kansas State or Cincinnati?
Or excuse
Sorry.
me, Cincinnati. If
Okay.
Cincinnati, geez, I'm conflating my
No, you're
opponents.
fine.
Apologies.
No, both are true. If Kansas State gets to 30, Utah could be in trouble. That means Kansas State's moving the ball.
Yeah. If Cincinnati gets to 30, and they do let the Bear throw it around a little bit, and he makes some mistakes, and the turnovers go against him, that's tough too. Now, I think the Bear has thrown BYU back into games, so he has that experience. Mm-hmm. But that's the recipe. I think Cincinnati is more likely to do that, I think, than Kansas State is to do the recipe you laid out in Rice Eccles. But I could see it. I mean, I don't think you're wrong. I think both teams are favorites for a reason. I think both teams are better. I think both teams should win. But I've seen plenty of should wins go the other way.
Yeah, that's why you play the games.
Yeah.
You do have to play the games. And I have probably gotten a little too comfortable, and I will admit, just thinking that the top 3 teams in the Big 12 are so much better than everybody else. And I do firmly believe that. But, Texas A&M was down 30-0 at halftime to, who was it, or 30-3? And they came back. South Carolina, and they came back and they won. But there are disaster situations that happen. There are games where everything goes wrong because as much as we were talking about how much puck luck changes hockey, the football is not round. It bounces strangely sometimes. And you have a couple of things go wrong, and it can get out of hand really quickly. So I guess my question for you is, if we get a doomsday scenario for BYU and Utah, let's say down 14-0, 6 minutes into the game. Who's more equipped to come back in these games?
Well, that early, either one. I mean, that's like
6 minutes is early.
Yeah,
okay, let's
right.
say
I
after
mean, if
one,
they're
it's
down,
14-0.
if they're
let's say
down,
after one, it's 14-0.
Okay, down 2 scores after one. Who's more likely to come back? How down would they have to be to get Utah to abandon the run? That's the thing. That like down 2 scores after 1 quarter is even. I would say Utah has plenty of ability to come back. Let me ask you this. Is Utah down 2 scores at the end of the first because Kansas State has stifled their run game? That's another thing.
It's just 14-0.
No, I know, but
I don't know what happened on third down.
I'll say BYU because I think their quarterback is more equipped to throw them back in it. But if Utah's down 14-0 at the end of one, they're not going to start throwing it all of a sudden.
I would hope not.
I
would hope not.
It's so it's more a mental exercise with the premise of the question, like how far down would they have to be at what period in the game where they abandon their game plan and go with something else? Because Texas Tech stifled the run game. Utah tried over and over again, and how much were they even down? Like 7? Felt like 21 because they couldn't move it.
Christian, you're the host of the post-game shows, and Jake, you know this. You'll remember this. Serious question for you. I don't know. I think I know the answer, but I don't know off the top of my head. How many games has Utah been behind in at any point this season?
Probably 2. Honestly.
I think it's 2.
Yeah. Unless there's some deficit early we're not remembering.
They weren't trailing to UCLA. They weren't trailing to Cal Poly. That's the basketball team that loses to Cal Poly. They weren't losing to Wyoming. I don't think Wyoming ever went up 10-7.
I don't think so.
I don't think so. I think they were always just a little bit ahead. It was a horrible first half, and then they pulled away in the second half. They weren't behind at West Virginia. They weren't behind at Arizona State, I don't think. Unless Arizona State was up 10-7 also, and then Utah just ran
but
over
even
them.
so, it doesn't count. Yeah,
they weren't behind Colorado. They weren't behind Cincinnati. They weren't behind Baylor.
Yeah.
I do wonder, honestly, if Utah finds itself behind if it can't win those games. And again, this is doomsday scenario for Utah. Kansas State wins on the opening drive, opening kickoff, opening drive, and then Utah turns it over on a fluke fumble or whatever, because that does happen.
If Utah has a fluke 4 minutes against Kansas State like Kansas State had against BYU 2 years ago, what is all of a sudden you're down 3 scores?
Yeah, right.
Because of some crazy turn of events.
And I am curious if Utah can get themselves back into it, because as horrendous of a year as this has been for Kansas State, there is talent on that team, and Avery Johnson is a dangerous player. That's my only argument in this situation of who's more likely to lose. I may be underestimating the value of playing at Rice Eccles and how difficult it has proven to be there, at least this season, which was not the case last year.
Would you say he's a dangerous man with money in his pocket?
I don't know if he has money in his pocket. I would imagine he probably got a good NIL.
No, there's this highlight Locke has that plays coming into every pregame show where I don't even know who he's talking about. But he says, he's a dangerous man with money in his pocket. And so now it's frozen into my brain.
Basketball shorts don't have pockets usually. You think he's talking literally, or you think it's an allusion to song lyrics?
I think that.
Yeah. And maybe he just signed a contract.
All right. Stay tuned. Top 3 stories.
It's a Bruno Mars song
of the day.
Christian, did you find out if Utes were ever behind in any of these other games?
I think it was a great point. I don't think
it's only
so.
2 games. I really do.
The 2 losses.
All right, stay tuned. Top 3 stories of the day at KSLSports.com. Coming up next, Jake and Ben, 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
It's time to break down the biggest stories of the day. This is the Top 3 Stories of the Day on KSLSports.com. On 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
Jake and Ben, time for the top 3 stories of the day at KSLSports.com, brought to you by J. Brooks Jewelers. Cherish your love with J. Brooks Jewelers. Explore the expertly crafted engagement rings made from the finest materials. J. Brooks Jewelers. All right, Christian, where do you want to start today?
Number 1, there's a lot of speculation about Kyle Whittingham's future. Tomorrow's the last home game of the season. Does that mean it's Kyle Whittingham's last game at Rice Eccles Stadium?
When you decide to make that, and it is your last game coaching at Rice Eccles, will you announce that before, do you think, or is that something you'll just let it happen?
I'll be here one day and gone the next.
Well, I wouldn't expect anything different. He's not going to do the Kobe Bryant retirement tour. So good for Whit, I guess, in that sense. And again, I don't think Whit's going anywhere necessarily. It's not like he's leaving the program. I think he's going to be a familiar face for people who are going to games or going to practice. I think we're going to see Whit around. But I don't get the feeling this is his last one. I thought maybe it would be, but I kind of don't think this is his last home game.
Well, Whit has it written into his contract. I think that he has some sort of, I can't remember
enormous
what
bonuses to stick
well,
around.
yeah. There's a role for him in the athletic department or whatever. Even he doesn't have to turn in the company car quite yet. Probably play a couple of rounds of golf with some boosters and hopefully enjoy it. Although, I mean, that would be an interesting thing if Coach Whit retired and then decided, well, hey, I still have plenty of energy. And
someone needs me. There's a good team that needs a good coach.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I'm sure Gary Anderson's telling him that being a consultant or whatever Coach Anderson's official title is down there at BYU isn't the worst thing in the world.
No.
You get to stick around. You get a expertise, probably another company car, and good times.
You still matter.
So I don't know what that would look like or if this is his final game as the head coach of Utah at Rice Eccles Stadium. I'm not sure.
Yeah, good for him if he does. Obviously, legendary career. I think he's going to be in the College Football Hall of Fame. He deserves to be. But yeah, I mean, it's a big night for a lot of Utah players who are playing their last games at Utah, not just seniors. There's going to be guys going to the draft that we're not going to see again up at Rice Eccles. So it's been a good run for a lot of these players. Some of these players were obviously certainly on the Rose Bowl teams still. So one of the better probably groups of players, even if the last two seasons haven't been what they probably hoped as upperclassmen.
I'll tell you, a surefire sign that Whit isn't retiring is if Morgan shows up wearing an LSU hat.
Are you surprised you don't hear Morgan's name mentioned at all in some of these jobs?
No, I'm not. Because to get your name mentioned with these jobs, Ben, it's because you're putting your name out there.
Sure.
And I don't think, even if he was considering it, I don't think he's leaking it to anybody. So has his phone rang or his agents or whatever? Yeah, probably. But why are we not seeing his name mentioned with anything? One, because the only name you're seeing mentioned with anything is the Lane Train. And two, because I'm sure he doesn't want it out there because if Whit retires, I'm guessing Utah would be his number one choice.
I would think so. He's also probably, if he were to leave Utah, he's probably not in the first row of dominoes to fall. He's probably the second.
Maybe. Yeah, I don't know.
He might be a guy who replaces a guy who leaves.
Sure.
I could see that. Or they go through the first round of coaching hires, and then, if not all the spots are filled, then he gets more calls. But I'm not expecting him to leave. I'm just curious if...
Why is Lane's name out there? Not only is he the obvious number one candidate, but it's because he puts it out there. He always puts it out there.
Yeah.
He basically told... was it Central Florida? Where was he? No, South Florida. He told them when he got the job, he said, as soon as a big program calls, I'm leaving.
Don't get too used to me. I'm not going to be here long.
To leave. Yeah, I mean, he was really open about it because like we talked about the other day, he got the reputation of being the ambitious, take a job at any time guy because he left Tennessee.
Yep.
So if you can't beat him, join him, right? If you can't shake that rep, well, that's the rep.
Yeah.
Why do they know his family is taking tours of Gainesville and Baton Rouge? Probably because he told them.
Yeah, somebody's letting them know.
Yeah, and so he's either going to take Ole Miss for every nickel that's not nailed down, or he's going to take one of those two jobs.
Agreed.
So, I mean, that's how coaches operate when they're looking around, when they're looking for something new.
Yep.
How did we know that Notre Dame's plane landed in Salt Lake or whatever? Probably because somebody with the Myers told somebody about it.
Yeah.
Oh, Florida flew into Wine and Dine Us. Well, that lifts the leverage. All of a sudden, it's Notre Dame, Florida, and Utah competing for Urban Meyer, and then he gets to pick his job and pick his salary. I mean, it's how the game is played.
Yeah, it's the right move. It's the right move if that's what you're trying to do is leave.
Ben, you could throw your name out there. Go onto the Snap Talk. No, find a sports journalist out there and bribe them $100 and say mention Ben Anderson's name in connection with Weber State as the head football coach.
Yeah.
And I bet you we could almost talk you into the job.
The radio guy?
That guy? He's interested?
You know what? I did hear him on the radio with some of the coaches over the last year. Maybe it makes sense.
Maybe.
Yeah, I could see that. Ben's the guy for the job.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah. Well, that would be a horrible hire. Don't do that.
Well, how do you think Well, no, I'm not going to throw
Let's
anybody
hear
under
it.
the
Yeah,
bus.
let's
No,
hear what you
no,
got to say.
That's not.
Yeah, who are you going to throw under the bus?
Next.
Who didn't deserve to get the job they got?
Next.
Number 2, the Utah Jazz back at home tonight. They are hosting the Thunder.
Hard to talk about the Thunder, regardless of who you are. I don't know if you've seen the stat. I was listening to the Windy Pod the other day, and they had the stat that Bronny James has played in more fourth quarters this year than has Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. They are blowing teams out so badly that Shai is not playing in the fourth quarter, which is amazing because I still think he's got to be close to 30 points a game, if not over 30 points a game, meaning he's doing most of it through the first 3 quarters of every game. He's averaging 32 points a game, which means he's probably, if you were to do per 36, I bet you his stats are through the roof. So he's extraordinarily impressive. This Thunder team is a machine. They have a real chance to win the most games in NBA history and then win a title and, replace the Bulls as the greatest team of all time. I don't know if anyone would actually believe that's the case, but, more regular season wins than the Warriors team that lost to LeBron and more regular season wins and a title than the Bulls team. So they're going to threaten for 70. And truthfully, if you're Oklahoma City, the Jazz should be a bump in the road.
Why don't we talk about Mark Daigneault more?
Well, a lot of the love goes to who's the GM?
Oh, Sam Presti.
Sam Presti, and what a good job he's done at OKC. I'm with you. One of the things that it's always amazing, they're like, where do they keep finding these guys? Presti's doing an awesome job finding these players that fit perfectly. It's like, no, I think Daigneault gets guys, knows exactly where to put them based on their skill sets to be successful. And that's what a good coach does. That's really what a good coach does. You can talk about game plans and all this stuff. A lot of it's just like, hey, I know this guy can do this consistently, and I'm going to find a way within our system to put him in spots to do what he does consistently. Because all of these guys, Aaron Wiggins, AJ Mitchell, that you're going to, most fans probably don't know about, if they go to other teams, they're probably just random dudes. But they're in really good spots, and he knows how to use them. No, he knows how to use every chess piece. He's a great coach.
I think we should talk about him more. Now, I am not give coach credit above the players guy because I don't think that's a thing.
That's never been the case, and it shouldn't be.
His team is really good. There is no doubt. But he does. He puts everything right where it needs to be. You know what I like about him, too, is his history, his coming up story, where Billy Donovan found him. And he started off at Holy Cross, but Billy Donovan found him, and he was on Billy's staff at Florida, and then brought him along to Oklahoma City, and that franchise spotted a talented young coach. I mean, much in the way of how Pat Riley spotted Spoelstra. And it's like, okay, we're going to groom this dude. Billy doesn't know what he's doing. I bet their first advice to Mark was like, hey, don't listen to Billy. You just figure it out, and we'll go to you when the time is right. And you know what? Usually when you fire a head coach, you fire their whole staff. They fired the head coach and they promoted this guy. I think that's got to tell you a little something about at least how he comes off behind the scenes. But I think he's awesome, and for some reason, nobody talks about him. It's
because they are loaded with talent, but. That doesn't
we
mean
talked about Phil Jackson.
There's a lot of teams loaded with talent that don't achieve anything. So you're right. You're spot on. He's a great coach. He's done a fantastic job. They're 15-1. They have 1 loss this season on the road at Portland, second night of a back-to-back, and they lost by 2 points. So they have just been steamrolling teams.
I wish I could rewind my life and see what the convo was about Chuck Daly, where people were like, well, he has basically an all-star team, so we're not going to give that guy any credit. I remember everybody bending over backwards to give Chuck Daly credit. People bend over backwards still to give Pat Riley credit for what he did with the Lakers in the 80s when he had, all the best players.
One of the craziest numbers right now in the NBA, it's the craziest number, is that the Oklahoma City Thunder have a defensive rating of 102.7. So they give up 102 points per 100 possessions, which is basically an NBA game. The next closest is the Detroit Pistons at 109.6.
102
7 points.
Is an incredible number in 08.
Yeah, right.
Let alone 25.
Yeah. So that they don't give up any points, and the next closest team is 7 points per 100 possessions behind. And again, to kind of paint the difference there, the difference between 1 and 2 is equal to the difference between 2 and the 22nd ranked Portland Trailblazers. The Trailblazers and the number 2 ranked team, Detroit Pistons, are closer than the number 2 ranked team and the number 1 ranked team.
And you know what? I'll tell you why that is so impressive and why we should give the some credit to Mark Daigneault, not all, but some, is they just won the title. They have a superstar. They have other quote-unquote stars. They were doing that stupid commercial during the finals that I saw a million times. Remember what I'm talking about? Yeah.
I liked it, but yeah.
And those guys dig in and guard better than any other team in the league. Ben, Jabari Parker wasn't wrong when he told that person, I don't get paid to play defense.
Yeah, right.
He wasn't wrong. Most of the times when guys read their own headlines, the first thing that goes out the door is a defensive culture. I'm not going to play defense.
All of these guys got paid in the offseason. They just won a title. They just won 68 games. Yeah, they could have taken this year off.
Those guys are digging deep and guarding at a historic level. Those guys?
Yep.
And the thing is, when those guys do that, the whole rest of the team has to follow suit.
Yeah.
And when you've got elite defenders like Lou Dort, all of a sudden you're like, oh, wow. So is that Sam Presti or is that Daigneault?
Also worth noting, it's got to be both, obviously, and then you have to have the right superstar to do it, and Shea is the right type of superstar. Jalen Williams, also their second-best player, has not played this year. So they're doing this without their second-best player on their team. He is out again tonight. This will be only the second time I believe Cody and Jalen have played against each other. Cody did play last year once in a game that Jalen Williams played. So the Jazz brothers, or the Williams brothers between the Jazz and the Thunder, not get a face-off tonight, unfortunately.
Well, the Thunder are awesome.
Thunder are awesome.
Nobody's going to beat the Thunder this year.
I don't think so.
No. All right, what's next?
Number 3, Real Salt Lake held a big press conference yesterday for their schedule release. Mark your calendars. Inter Miami and Lionel Messi are coming to Salt Lake City.
We know for sure Miami is.
They're playing.
They are playing. And Lionel Messi has traditionally made trips with the teams. You can never guarantee athletes are going to play or not be suspended or not miss play for whatever reason, injury or otherwise. But April 22nd, I don't know, depends on who you're asking, one of the 5 greatest soccer players of all time and maybe still the greatest player on earth is coming to Salt Lake. So we'll see.
I don't think he's still that.
Probably not.
But did you have you followed it all? And we don't need to go too deep down this rabbit hole, but have you followed at all Major League Soccer's decision to change the calendar?
They are matching the EPL or just the way every other soccer league plays.
Everywhere else does it, yeah. I wonder how, honestly, that's going to go.
A lot of snow.
I mean, the argument is that we can't expect to be a top-tier league if we're not on the same schedule. I would buy into that argument.
Yeah, for sure.
But I also would listen to somebody telling me that they're never going to be a top-tier league.
Mm-hmm.
I got in an argument with Soccer Guy when, and this was off the air, kind of funny, when Major League Soccer signed David Beckham. And I said, it's only a matter of time before Major League Soccer is among the great leagues because all the stars are going to figure out that all the money is here and all the attention is here. And they're going to come here for the Nike contract and not just the soccer, right? So all of a sudden, a major superstar like David Beckham comes and that's just going to be the dam that breaks.
Uh-huh.
Ben, how many years later? Let's see. Let me think here. This is like when RSL first came. So this is like 20 plus years ago that I got into this argument. Major League Soccer is no closer to being a top tier league than they were the day that I got into this argument with this snooty soccer fan who, EPL or what, I can't even remember. It doesn't even matter. So is that even possible? Is what's holding them back the calendar? Because I think the calendar, the way they're going to do it is going to do damage from to the gate, from the sense that you're going to take time off during the summer to add games during the winter. I mean, that's...
Well, yeah, 2027, they're going to have a very short season so they can adjust and get back to the new schedule is what it's going to be.
But they're going to start in like February.
And they're going to take summer to spring.
And they're going to take a day, like a month off. They're going to take like August or something like that all the way off.
What it does allow for is...
Like that?
Your off-season matching the off-season of everybody else, which conceivably should help with the transfers.
That's the idea.
That's the idea, right? We can hit the free agent market worldwide, whereas our free agent market is in the middle of their season. How are we going to get guys to come over? That's the argument. Where I would agree with you, and maybe agree with your snooty EPL fan or whoever it is, the infrastructure on MLS is clearly way better. The product is clearly way better. Does that mean they've actually made inroads to get any closer to the teams or the leagues above them? I don't know. Probably not.
A little bit, maybe. I don't even know if the product is. It's better.
There's more
I don't want to
arenas,
say like
there's
all
more
the stuff,
soccer-specific arenas.
I don't know if the actual quality of if the EPL is league number 1. Major League Soccer now is probably down in the teens.
Probably not that low.
It might be. I mean, when you add up all the Bundesliga and
I
all
bet
the
it's not
other
that low. I suspect it's top 10.
and then the South American leagues and all that stuff.
But regardless, it's.
I don't know.
Well, you're never going to catch those. You're never going to catch the elite, the top of the top.
So why adjust your calendar when it's going to do damage? Maybe it doesn't. Maybe I'm wrong about that. But I can't imagine going to a Chicago outdoor stadium in February to watch the Fire play.
There have been articles on this because we are entering the 30th season of MLS. So this was last year, pretty recently. Says it's about the 10th best league in the world, which again, that's a long ways back. 10 is so far back. Like, what's the 10th best basketball league in the world? I honestly don't have any idea.
Maybe like Israel, maybe China? I mean, when you think of all the European leagues.
I honestly don't know. Yeah, I mean, that to the point where it's like, it's so irrelevant at that point, other than you are in the United States. That's what it has going for it, is that it's in the U.S.
So maybe they can attract more high-profile, better players. I mean, I'd be selling lifestyle all day, every day.
Yeah, right. You're selling Miami or Los Angeles, and you say, hey.
Or not just those, like the good old US of A. Like, if you've been to some not prestigious cities in Europe, which I have not, so, but I've been told the lifestyle isn't that great.
But Mbappe and these great soccer players, and again, I'm not well-versed in soccer, so I'm not trying to dive too deeply into this, but like, Cristiano Ronaldo is not living in the toughest parts of the world, right? They are living in the greatest cities on the planet outside of the U.S.
Well, I'm guessing that Ronaldo, his first choice wouldn't be Saudi Arabia, but yeah.
But regardless, and they are living in palaces and have as much money as you could ever dream of. So that's what they can sell there. But you're right. Point to Shohei. Say, look at what Shohei has done.
Oh, I'd take a condo in downtown Salt Lake over a palace in Saudi Arabia, probably.
I don't know. It's pretty good money. But yeah, regardless, that is what you're selling.
No, we're not talking about money.
Lifestyle.
We're talking about the accommodations and the lifestyle. And that comes with the whatever laws Posh Spice has to live under these days.
Yeah.
Which, hey, I'm not hating on Saudi
Sell
Arabia.
Miami.
I'm just telling you, I'd rather have a
sell
condo.
New York, sell Los Angeles, sell Miami.
Sell Salt Lake City.
Sell the other three first. Then we'll talk.
I think you're underselling our great community.
I love our community. I don't think Mbappe's leaving EPL or whatever league he's in to come play in Salt Lake or Columbus Crew.
But that guy is never coming. So that's the point.
Messi is here. So Messi's better than Mbappe.
75 years old. I watched Thierry Henry come through here too, and my whole point was about Beckham. And the guy told me Beckham is 106 years old and can't play anymore, and that was true. And everybody's in love with Messi, but it's probably still true. He's not going to lead the Argentinian World Cup team next time. It's not going to happen.
Yeah.
So he's Tom Hanks in A League of Their Own, where he tips his hat, and I don't think they're getting prime Messi ever. But maybe their chances are better with a different calendar.
That's what they're hoping to get closer to.
But I don't think that guy's ever coming.
Agreed.
But at
least not right now.
The random guy playing in some strange Danish town that you could sell. My point is. Yeah. All right, stay tuned. More next. Jake and Ben, 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
Let's go! Complete game coverage of the Cougars is right here on the KSL Sports Zone. It's a huge Big 12 battle for the Cougars as they head to Cincinnati for a showdown against the Bearcats. Your home for the best coverage of Cougar football is right here on 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone. You're listening to Jake Scott and Ben Anderson on 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
Jake and Ben, 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone. Join Hanson, Scotty G. Coming up today at RGS Exteriors from noon to 3, 4235 Farm Road in West Jordan. RGS Exteriors. We have college basketball about to tip off on 12:80 a.m. A little Utah State basketball. Christian, is that correct?
Yeah, Utah State's at Tulane. They're about to tip off here at 11.
The mighty Green Wave.
Yeah.
In Charleston, I heard Lloyd
In
say.
Charleston. Playing Tulane.
Scott on the call.
Scotty G on the call.
Scotty G on the call as always.
Scott Gerard.
How do you say it? How do you say his last name? I've only ever called him Scotty G.
It's G. I thought it was G.
Yeah, just G.
Just
G-E-E.
G.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Kind of like Harry S. Truman. He didn't
What does
have
the S stand for?
nothing.
S.
It's just S, which I always found bizarre. Like your parents wanted you to have a middle
Why don't
initial.
you go by your initials? Why don't we call you JJ? JJ Scott. That's good. I know we already have a JJ in the station. But JJ Scott's a good name.
So is Scotty calling the?
Changes off immediately. Christian, what would your initials be? C-E Esparza? What is it?
F. It's a
C-F Esparza?
Yeah,
That
my
doesn't
middle
work.
name's a F.
Doesn't
Yeah.
work.
No.
The only way I'd go by my initials is if they are U.S. You know, like the people in history that have gone by, like Ulysses S. Grant, U.S. Grant.
Okay.
It seems kind of
JJ Scott's a good one.
patriotic.
I like that.
Is Scotty going to do the Fresno State game tomorrow?
He's a busy man.
He's going from Charleston across the country to call the Fresno State game, which, by the way, is critical to the Aggies' bowl hopes.
Mm-hmm.
And Fresno State is good this year.
They are.
They run the crap out of the ball.
Well, I think their over-under was 4. The Broncos already beaten that, which is not surprising. But I probably just assumed they were going to be a bowl team because that's what Bronco does. So I think they'll win one of these last two.
He did not do it in his first year at UVA.
No.
He did. He finished exactly 500 in his first year at BYU.
Did not get there at New Mexico.
And then did not get there at New Mexico. So it'll be interesting. It'll be a big deal for the Aggies to get bowl eligible.
Agreed.
And basketball, I mean, if there's things that are just consistent, it's the Aggies winning 20 games. So I'm expecting that again this year.
Agreed. Not for Utah. Lost to Cal Poly last night. Not great.
You mean California, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like the Bears, right?
No, Cal Poly. Polytechnical College. Or what do they call it? Yeah.
Well,
I don't know what. I couldn't recognize. I mean, obviously, I didn't know any of the players on Cal Poly, but.
hey, at least it wasn't somebody from the C-State system as opposed to it was a UC team.
Is Cal Poly UC?
Yeah.
Okay. Good
It's
for them.
not Cal Poly State.
Okay.
Cal Poly.
Well,
So you lost to a UC school.
tier
at
1
least.
loss then. Cal Poly.
All right, coming up next,
Quad 1. Tier 1, yeah.
Steve Bartle's going to join the show, so we'll talk some Utes. He covers the Utes for KSLSports.com, and then our buddy Chad Brendel of BearcatJournal.com is going to join the show at 11:30. So stay tuned. We've got your college football covered next. 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.